Parashas Re'eh, Tafshin Pei Aleph. Yeah, I know we've done this year from many, many different places. We've done it from a lot of different places around the world, but this one is a classic. No, it's not a jail behind me, but actually you can see a beautiful sunset somewhere beyond there that just passed. Got a little stuck in an airport, but the shir must go on, so we are broadcasting the shir live from an airport. And here we are, Parshas Re'eh. Pasuk says, Aser to Aser, is kol tvuas zarecha hayotzei hasadeh shana shana. A person has to give meiser. Then v'achalta lifnei Hashem alekecha. It has to be eaten, Yerushalayim, b'makoyim asher yivchar l'shakein shemo Yisham. And what happens if you give this meiser and you eat it in the right place? So the Torah tells us, Lema'an tilmad li'yir'ah es Hashem alekecha. Somehow you're gonna learn, and you're gonna learn how to fear Hashem kol hayomim, for all of the days. Very, very interesting pasuk, and we learned it on Yontif, and we learned it in Parshas Re'eh. And the bottom line is, we need to understand what this is. So Nesivos Shalom asks, first of all, what is this kol hayomim? All of the days. What's the pasuk talking about? And so too, like we said, how do you learn Yiras Hashem from just v'achalta lifnei Hashem alekecha? A person eats meiser, he eats this right, eats it in the right way, so you gain and you get Yiras Hashem. From that, what's going on here? How does achila, eating something, bring Yiras Hashem? Eating, I would think eating is one of the most megusham, one of the most gashmiest things that a person could do. And from eating, you're going to get, all of a sudden you're going to have Yiras Hashem. So Nesivos Shalom answers that yes, the Torah is teaching us a lesson here, that the eating of Meiser Sheni, it needs to be in a Makom Kadosh. That we know. Eating a Meiser Sheni, the pasuk tells us that it has to be in a Makom Kadosh. And you know what the Torah is teaching us? The Torah is teaching us that an achila that is lifnei Hashem, like the pasuk tells us, that an achila that is lifnei Hashem, that you have an achila, that you have kedusha, that you're eating in the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to bring you, that the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to eat it, that taka brings a person to yira. When you do things in the right way and you eat things the right way, yes, from that a person can attain Yiras Shamayim. And it says straight in the pasuk. The Gemara Masechta Yevamos, Daf Tzadik Gimel, Amar Aleph tells us that you know what this is. These Kol Hayom Elu Shabbosos V'Yomim Tovim. That it's talking about Shabbosos V'Yomim Tovim. And what does the Gemara mean? The Gemara means that when we eat on those days, when we eat on Shabbos and Yom Tov, and those days in the Torah, those days are called Yomim, right? If you eat on those days, it brings Kedusha to a person. And yes, that is a fact. When a person eats on Shabbos and Yom Tov, and you eat for the right reasons, that brings Yiras Shamayim. Because the entire taiva, says in the Nesivos Shalom, the entire taiva for eating in this world was given to this world so a Jew can eat b'kedusha, that this seemingly gashmiest thing, a person can eat b'kedusha and elevate yourself with this eating. And eating on these days of Shabbos and Yom Tov is the realm of what the pasuk here sees as v'achalta lifnei Hashem elekecha. A person eats for the right reasons. V'oinig Yom Tov, v'oinig Shabbos, that is called v'achalta lifnei Hashem elekecha. It brings kedusha, and yes, it leads a person to Yiras Shamayim. Fascinating, fascinating concept. And the question is, why this bringing Yira, we're talking about like a Gashmiya should bring Yira to a person. Why is this bringing Yira said by the mitzvah of eating and not by any other mitzvah? I would think I would do some other mitzvahs that I could think might be more feasible to bring a person to Yiras Shamayim. Why is this Yira said by the mitzvah of eating more than any other mitzvah? It says in Nesivos Shalom that the reason is that achila and think of a little bit science here, right? Achila is the shoirish and the makar of the blood in our bodies. The food that you eat, the nutrients that you eat, make up the blood and the nutrients that provide blood for a person's body. And if your achila is with kedusha, you know what you're doing? Your blood becomes holy too. Because if it's achila, if it's food that is creating the blood in your body, then if it's done in a holy way, the blood in your body is now kadosh. It is now holy. And the opposite is true too, chas v'shalom, that a person will be very careful with what they eat and how they eat, because it's not in a roundabout way. What happens is it goes straight into your blood. It creates the blood of your body, which makes every one of your organs and your entire body continue. It makes your entire body exist. So we have to be very careful with what we eat. And Chazal tell us, in the Gemara, Masechta Nazir, Daf Chav Gimel Amar Aleph, Chazal tell us that you could have two people that are eating the Korban Pesach. They're eating together. And one person is eating L'Shem Shamayim. A person's eating the korban for the right reasons, and on that person, the Torah, the pasuk is said about that person, tzadikim yelchuvam, because he's eating a korban, he's eating it for the right reason. And then there's another person who's eating with him, but he's eating just for achila gasa. He's eating for totally not the reason of l'shem shamayim. And on that person, the pasuk continues, upaishim yikashluvam. A person is a transgressor, and he's totally the opposite of the other person who's eating with him. But one has the right kavanas and one doesn't. Even though they're eating the exact same thing, they're in two totally different worlds. And it's for this reason that many tzaddikim say that one of the hardest and the highest and the holiest avodas that a person has is eating l'shem shamayim, maybe because it's so enjoyable and it's something which seems like it's so full of gashmias. But tzaddikim say that it's one of the highest things to do in the right way. But the repercussions and the results are phenomenal if a person does do it in the right way. One, a person creates dam kadosh. He creates the holiness injected into the actual blood of his body, and he becomes holy through that. And through that eating, the Torah tells us, L'ma'an tilmad, so you'll learn in our parsha, L'yir'as Hashem alekecha, you become a person of Yiras Shamayim. Chazal tell us in Bereshis Rabbah, Perek Yud Aleph, on the pasuk of, we're going to say it in Mert Hashem in Kiddush, tomorrow night, you can say it in davening, Vayevarech Elokim es Yom HaShvi'i. HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed the seventh day. And there are different Mandiyamrim, different opinions of what the blessing was that Hashem gave. And according to one opinion, it's Berchu Baman, that Hashem blessed the seventh day of the week. Hashem blessed the Shabbos with the mun. And of course, the question that right away jumps into everybody's mind is that the mun was for only 40 years of the Midbar. And we know that Shabbos Kodesh, Shabbos, is every single week. So what does it mean, Berchu Baman? How are we blessed with the mun? Vayevarech Elokim es Yom HaShvi'i. How are we blessed with the mun now when we actually don't have mun? We have Shabbos still, but we don't have mun. So the answer is, says in Nesivos Shalom, something very, very beautiful, that the mun we know is a holy food. And we're having a whole discussion tonight about holy food. The mun was a holy food, and it also made the bodies of the people in the Midbar. We know it made the bodies of the people, of the Bnei Yisrael in the Midbar, made their bodies holy. So we are saying now, a beautiful thought, and think of this tomorrow night, when you come to Kiddush, when you daven, we're saying that Shabbos too was blessed with this same bracha as the mun. That just like when people ate the mun in the Midbar, it created holiness in their bodies. Eating on Shabbos Kodesh, it has the kedusha of the mun. The Kabrina Rav Zechusi Yagan Aleinu says that we say in the Zmiras, we sing, or we say, depends what you could do, if you could sing or you could say, but Kodesh Hilachem Shabbos Hamalka. Kodesh Hilachem Shabbos Hamalka, says the Kabrina Rav, a beautiful translation on this, that on Shabbos, all the inyonim of Lachem, Kodesh He lachem, things that you think you do for yourself. A person eats gashmias, pure gashmias, right? But kodesh hi lachem, Shabbos hamalka, those things become kadosh on Shabbos. They become holy too. That Shabbos has the koyach hakadusha of eating. Shabbos has the koyach hakadusha of eating, and our eating becomes with the kedusha of the man. And this could be really why. Think about it. Why we focus so much, and we know every Thursday night, especially in Bikuch Cholim, we have such a huge Tayameh. We begin to have our food for Einik Shabbos. This could be why we have Einik Shabbos, by eating so many delicacies, L'Kovet Shabbos. Because it would seem that this really, what are you stuffing your face? It should seem to be the antithesis, total antithesis of what we're looking to create in Shabbos, Kedusha Shabbos, by eating, by just stam eating. So the same would be also, Erev Yom Kippur, right? We have this a mitzvah to eat the Erev Yom Kippur. What kind of avodas Hashem is during eating? And now we can understand from our parsha that it is not so much about the actual act of eating. It's not the actual eating. It's the kavana that we should have and we do have while we're eating on Erev Yom Kippur, while we're eating L'Kovet Shabbos, while we're doing all these things for Tainik, for Kabbalah of Shabbos, we're eating it in honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to honor the Shabbos. That turns it into something which has the Kedusha of the man. It's the Kavana while we're eating it. And that eating is, like our Pasuk says in our Parsha, and now we can understand it in a whole different way, as the Nesivos Shalom explains, Lifnei Hashem Alekecha, that your eating should be Lifnei Hashem Alekecha, before Hashem, in front of Hashem, because of Hashem. Hashem should be in front of you, and that's why we eat, and that is how we eat. And it's the way we eat that makes it holy. And Shabbos and Yom Tov are a perfect time to bring out this expression of Leman Tilmad, to teach you Liyir'ah es Hashem Alekecha Kol Hayomim. The days, as the Torah says, Vayivarach Elokim es Yom HaShvi'i. Yom Tov is also called Yom. The word Yom is used for Yom Tov in the Torah, Kol Hayomim, that all the days that we expressly and explicitly have an obligation for Kavod, Simchas Yom Tov, Kavod Shabbos, for all these things, Laman Tilma Diuret, that even from that, a person can learn. A person can learn and teach themselves and inculcate into yourself Yiras Shamayim. All the days, on all these days, beginning with this Shabbos, tomorrow night, we have the opportunity to elevate yourself through the seemingly mundane physical act of eating. And you might think to yourself, how are we going to do this? And how, so many years we've been eating already, and we've been not concentrating, but then we come to this Shabbos Mevarchim, Chodesh Elul. It's time to change. It's time to things that we didn't take seriously in life. It's time to change now. This Shabbos, beginning with this Shabbos, your eating could be L'Kavod, L'man, Tilmad, L'Yirah es Hashem L'Kecha Kol Hayomim. To teach yourself that yes, even my eating can be to elevate my Yiras Shamayim. Even my eating can be just to teach myself, L'man Tilmad L'Yirah es Hashem L'Kecha Kol Hayomim, that things which are seemingly physical, and Chodesh Elul is when we are more mindful and we realize and we think that there's always HaKadosh Baruch Hu in front of us. And even the things that we do, Kodesh Hi Lachem, Shabbos Hamalka, if it comes to Shabbos Kodesh, it comes to Shabbos, we're totally different people. We can elevate the things we do the entire week, the things we do physically in our lives, and we use them for Avodas Hashem. And what a beautiful lesson for Elul. What a way to go into Elul, to understand that yes, we have to go about our lives, and yes, we have things that we have to do, and yes, there are physical things we need to do in this world, but the focus should be that we're doing it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're doing it for the right reasons, and once we do that, Hashem will give us the opportunity to bring into ourselves L'Yirah es Hashem Alekecha Kol Hayomim, that now we have Yiras Shamayim. I wish everybody a very, very good Shabbos and a nice, inspiring Shabbos Mevarchim Elul.